talk to me about managing training in this particularly challenging winter and using the treadmill a lot, and how you've been able to stick with it.
Yeah, it has been a particularly nasty winter. We've been here, I came here in 2005, so I've been here a long time, and this is probably the worst winter I remember as far as like snowfall and number of snowstorms and just like the necessity to go on the treadmill. And also, I think from having babies and just past injuries, like I get some SI joint stuff when I run on the snow, so I just avoid it at all costs, and invested in a nice treadmill a few years ago and have defaulted to that like way more than normal. But I think the thing that got me this winter, and a lot of people that are from here are also saying this, it's the cloudiness and the grayness. Like that's not normal for Boulder. You know, the snow is one thing, but then the sun comes out, like you're saying, more than 300 days of sun. And we just have like those 3 or 4 gloomy days in a row every couple of weeks have like, I'm a little susceptible to seasonal affective stuff, and I've just been like, I'm just gonna go run on my treadmill and watch some Netflix. Like, it's just hard. So managing it, I don't know if I'm doing a very good job, honestly, because it's just been difficult. And luckily with marathon training, you can use the treadmill for most of it. During like getting ready for a track season, it's a lot harder. So, you know, I'm just glad I have my treadmill and my Netflix.
Netflix and treadmill. I guess last winter it was sunny. It felt like it was sunny all the time. January had sunshine, and it was super cold in February for a week. But so let's rewind a few years to Sara as the maybe amateur runner or getting into running. What got you excited initially about the sport?
Like way back when.
Yeah.
I have a kind of a fun like intro into running story. So I was a pretty serious gymnast up until my freshman year of high school. Like I would be going twice a day. I was in the gym a lot of hours a week. And I was growing up in a pretty small town, and my gym like literally just one day went out of business. So it was like a Monday morning. It was like 2 weeks before my freshman year, and my mom had dropped me off, or I walked over or rode my bike. I can't remember, but I probably drove, because I drove when I was 14 in Nebraska. I had a farm permit. So I drove myself to the gym, walk up, and there's like a padlock on the door and it's closed. It's just like, no practice today. So I call my mom and I'm like, what am I going to do? This is my life. This is what I do all the time. And I had hoped to do it in college. And my mom was like, well, I got an email from Coach Nash. He's the cross country and track coach. And I think they have practice in like 20 minutes at the high school, and you're dressed to work out. Why don't you just go to that? And I was like, I guess, like, I'll just get in a workout today at least. Like, I won't waste the day. And I showed up to the first day of cross country practice with my leotard with shorts over and like a pair of JCPenney, sneakers. And, the rest is history, as they say. I went on a run with them. I remember, like, I had no idea really what I was doing. I'd never run or trained with people. We did like a 4-mile loop around our little town. And as soon as I recognized where we were on the way back, I like started sprinting, because I thought that's what you do at the end of a run, is you just like race people and be the first back. And
is that not what you're supposed to do?
I guess not. I don't know how I had any friends in high school on the cross country team, because they're like, who is this girl? But they were good sports about it. And and I did that for like 2 weeks until my coach was finally like, you don't have to kick at the end of every run. I was like, oh, cool.
So in 2 weeks, you're running your second Boston Marathon as a professional athlete. There's been a bunch of miles in between. Talk to me about that journey.
Yeah. Well, in high school, the dream had to pivot pretty quickly from not being able to do gymnastics in college to figuring out some other thing. And I just got really lucky. I was really blessed that running also served me really well. My freshman year, I did fine at the cross country state meet. I think I was 7th, and then I won the mile that spring in track. And so that really opened my eyes up to a whole different Olympic sport. I knew it was also a sport, but I didn't really know the ins and outs of it. And, a couple years later, I started getting recruited by some schools and found my way that way. And as far as track and field, that was always super exciting to me. I've loved the 1500 and the mile forever. And then like the marathon, I just sort of thought it was something that I would get into maybe like as a charity event after I was done running track, or, like I kind of always took it as like I'm falling behind on the track, or like my track days are behind me, so then I have the marathon to fall back on. But I'm glad I went to it earlier in my career than I had originally planned, because now it just feels like act 2. So yeah, like you said, lots of miles in between, lots of unsponsored years between college and now. But I've always loved it, and it's always been there for me. So
How come you've kept at it?
yeah, I think it's just been one of those things that has always like called me to keep coming back. I mean, there have been times in my career where it was really obvious to everyone around me that I should probably walk away from the sport. It just didn't make sense, like financially, or well, mostly financially. Like it was a actual financial drain on our family for a while when I wasn't sponsored, especially in track when you're racing every other weekend, and it's just hard. But I kept getting a little better every year. I never didn't PR in something from the 800 to the 5K. I would always find myself improving, and just not only that, but I just had a longing to like keep going. So I've always kind of tried to think of it as something that like makes me better at the other parts of my life too. But I like the competitiveness of it too.
I love what you said about the makes you better at other parts of your life. Talk to me more about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like my kids will tell you, like if I'm super grumpy on a given day, they're like, wow, mom hasn't gone out for her run yet. So it's like a mental health break for me daily. Even in the intense training phases, it's always like the time where it's just me and myself, and I can push myself and nobody needs anything else from me for that 90 minutes. I just get to focus on myself. So yeah, selfishly, it's like this great piece of my day.
A lot of people call running a selfish endeavor, but I think it's the opposite, right? For the reasons you just said, you're a better version of yourself. You're probably more grounded. You're probably all these qualities that you like about yourself and that make you a happy person to be around. And so my response to all these people is like, well, take all of that stuff away. And then what? Like, you're a grumpy person with an extra 90 minutes a day.
Right, exactly.
What's the value in that?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, if it weren't running, I'd probably fill it with something else that gives you some sort of balance. But the fact that running, my body loves running, my mind loves running, and it's just easy in a lot of ways. Yeah, I think it'll always be my thing.
So you've run two marathons?
So this will be my fourth. So CIM, Boston last year, Chicago. Right. So this will be number 4.
You said something earlier that I want to bring back up and sort of build on this. You said that eventually you'll stop PRing, and the measures of success and growth will change to something else. I've talked a lot with a lot of people who are like, I want to run for the next 50 years, etc. Let's say you fast forward 25 years and you've stopped PRing in the marathon.
Fair enough.
So let's say, I think that's a safe assessment. What's bringing you joy related to running?
I don't know. That's a super interesting question, because I don't know that I'm like fully in love with the day-to-day grind of training and just like miles. I love workouts. I love racing. And that's kind of what gets me through like a lot of training blocks. But I think someday when I walk away from competition, I don't know that I'll run every day. I think I'll, do something else. I don't know.
Peloton.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, who knows? Pilates. Like, I don't know. So I don't really have an answer. I know it'll be something physical where I push my body in some way.
Maybe it would be a long backpacker.
Yeah. I mean, actually, I hate hiking. I like that.
Okay, maybe not.
No, not that. But maybe like rock climbing or something else extreme. Or I was telling a friend last week that I thought I wanted to be a triathlete or a cyclist for like a minute.
That's because you live in Boulder.
Yeah. Well, but then I was in high school when I lived in Nebraska, and I bought a really nice road bike, and then I wrecked it like 2 days later. And I was like, I'm never touching a road bike again. So that won't be it, but it'll be something.
Got it.
Yeah.